Hi, I'm Olivia. I've been swimming since I was 9 and I swim for 18 hours a week.
Hi, I'm Madeline. I've been playing volleyball since I was 12 years old and I practice 12 hours a week.
Hi, I'm Owen Lucas and I've been running track since I was 11 years old and I run 15 hours a week.
Hi, I'm Delphine. I've been playing volleyball since I was 13 and on average I spend 10 hours a week practicing.
Track and field.
Track,
Soccer.
volleyball,
Track.
volleyball,
Swim.
Soccer,
Basketball. Play water polo. Baseball. Track.
Water polo and swim. Gymnastics.
Stress source just because of the competitiveness and like having to do the pressure to do well each weekend at meets. Stress source. Stress reliever. Stress reliever. Stress reliever.
it's stress reliever.
stress reliever.
Stress reliever.
Stress reliever for me because with all the AP classes and honors that I'm taking, that's like the only way that I can output all my stress.
Stress reliever because after a long day I can just go in the pool and play with friends. It's a lot of fun.
Stress source because it's an all-year sport, which means I practice all year instead of one season, and it's just so time-consuming.
A stress source because away games can last a long time, and it can be hard for me to balance practices and games with all my APs and honors.
Stress source, playing the actual sport for the team.
Stress reliever because it's really nice to just be able to zone out on long runs and think about and process the day. It's a really good source of stress relief, yeah.
At Student Center High School, they enter an environment filled with a frenzy of activities, with many choosing to immerse themselves into athletics. Yet, with the constant pressure of academics, many feel hopeless in navigating what is worth dedicating their time to and what is not.
We conducted a survey with 52 Woodbridge High School students, where 84% of them said there has been an instance where their athletics have affected their studies.
Pew Research Center statistics state that 70% of teens feel that anxiety and depression is a major issue amongst their peers. Thus, it's important to identify what the source of stress actually is.
With sports and extracurriculars taking up a large portion of students' time, we pose a question as to whether or not students see sports as a catalyst for stress or a reliever.
Today, we will take a look at two different stories, one who finds their sport to be a stress source, while the other finds it a reliever.
We will analyze how their sports affect their physical and mental health, as well as their academics.
First, we're going to be hearing from Jean Meyer, a swimmer from University High School.
Without further ado, let's dive on into this student's story.
I'm Jean. I'm a freshman at University High School and I swim. I've been swimming since I was 5. Swimming has changed a lot since I was really young. Like I said, I started at 5, and when I was really young, it was just make it across the pool, like do great. Like every time you got out, they were like, oh my God, that was so good because you made it across the pool. And it was about putting yourself out there and doing it, not just being better every single time. Swim for me is more of a stress source just because practice every day takes up time that I could be using to do homework, study for tests, or hang out with friends. It's kind of a degrading sport in a way because you're constantly putting in work and most of the time it doesn't pay off. You don't drop time every meet and it just gets really frustrating a lot. Also meets a lot of the weekends that takes up time I could be using for projects or to do homework, and swimming it adds a lot of extra stress in my life because it's something that I want to do, but it's not something that I love, and there's a lot of things I would rather do than swim. My attitude towards how I've been performing in swim has really changed. When I was younger, like 12, 13, I was hypercritical of myself and how I performed. If I added even like a tenth of a second, I felt like that was like the end, like everything was over just because of that little minute amount, just because of the amount I'd been putting in and it didn't show in the results and I didn't know why, so it was really frustrating. Now I'm more relaxed about it because I have found things that just bring me so much more joy and things I'm willing to put in the work for. And it's just, I've become less critical of myself because of that. So yeah, swim has impacted my social and mental abilities. Socially, I haven't been able to go to a lot of things. My friends are like, hey, can you hang after school? And I'm like, no, I have to go to the swim. Or can you do this on the weekend? And I'm like, no, I have a swimming, like, I'm sorry. So it's bums me out whenever I'm like, sorry, I have swim, because it's something I know I would enjoy because I love my friends. Mentally, swim has had a big toll on my mental health. Sometimes I get overly anxious about the overwhelming amount of things swimming takes on me, or I get really sad about how I'm not getting better. It's frustrating how you don't improve, how you're not getting better even though you're putting everything you have into something, and that's just really degrading, and it's hard to get out of that. I do feel a lot of pressure from my coach and my parents to keep going with my sport. My dad swam in high school. He's the reason that I got into swim. So I would say a lot of the reason I am still swimming is because of him. My sister puts a lot of pressure on me to keep swimming because she says she lives vicariously through my life and my successes. And my coach, he's really supportive of academics, and he understands that I do have other things besides swim, but I do feel pressure from him to do well at swim meets and to perform my best and to go to practice, which I mean is what a coach is supposed to do, but it is pressure. For me, my sport doesn't impact my academics because, like I said, practice 3 hours a day plus getting ready, driving to swim, it takes about 4 hours, and that's time I could be using for homework or for tests. And plus high school season, I started this year because I'm a freshman. It has added a lot because we have 2 meets like a week, which is time I don't get to do homework or study. The motivation to keep on swimming probably comes from the fact that I've been doing it for almost 11 years now. It's something that has been a constant in my life, and I don't absolutely hate it, but there's a lot of things that I enjoy more. But it's something that I've always done, and it feels like if I were just to quit completely, it's something that would be missing, and it doesn't make my life whole.
Hi, my name is Steve Averill. I coach at Team Create Club Basketball, and I also coach at Santa Margarita High School, and I've been coaching for 10 years. I enjoy coaching because I love helping kids achieve their goals, and I find a great deal of satisfaction in seeing them get better at something that they enjoy doing. I often see athletes struggling with stress when they have higher expectations of themselves than is realistic, and they put too much pressure on themselves to perform, and that then affects their ability to execute on the court. And really what they need to do is just kind of reframe who they are and where they're at, and once they do that, it'll enable them to have a better outcome on the court. The 2 major pressures that I believe athletes today face come from 2 different places, from their parents and from social media. And one is self-inflicted, which is social media, and the other is parents, which is not self-inflicted. But parents are very much involved these days, and some of them did not play sports maybe in the past, and so they don't sort of have an experience of how difficult it is to achieve success in a sport. And sometimes that's a bit unfair to their son or daughter. And then with social media, it kind of portrays you always in a positive light, usually when you post things on social media. And that's not how sports is. In sports, there's a ton of failure, and there's a lot of setbacks. And I think that kids, expect themselves to be social media perfect when, 90% of the time in sports, there's just, failure and mistakes. And, there's that 10% top where you're really, having full success and everything's going really well. And so I think if they can kind of get a handle on that, then these pressures they feel through social media and from their parents would be negated. So the way school impacts stress when it comes to an athlete's performance is they really have to manage their time when it comes to practice in school. And in a lot of households that parents value education very much, and they want the kids to do well in school, and they want them to be successful on the court. And so that's hard as a young person to be able to manage all that time, because you still want to have a social life too. So it's a real challenge. I think the number one challenge is time management. And what we do with our club and even in high school is, if a kid school comes first. That's the main priority. If they have to do homework, if they have to take a test, if they have to, then they can skip a practice. It's not that important. School has to come first, and kids need to understand that, and parents need to understand it too. Really, 99.9% of the kids are not going to go pro. So focus on school first, and that will alleviate some of the stress.
Now we'll jump into Jenny's.
Hi, I'm Jenny Leitman, and I'm a senior at Woodbridge High School, and these past few years I've been serving as the volleyball captain, and I'm going to Providence College on a volleyball scholarship. So when I was a kid, I played like 3 to 4 sports at once, so that was just like to find the sport I wanted to play. But when I entered high school, I was originally supposed to play volleyball and basketball, but my club coach thought it was a better idea to just focus on one sport, so I actually quit basketball right before season, and I just continued with volleyball. And it's different because I was actually trying to get money for volleyball for college. It's definitely a stress reliever because I like to go to practice when I have a lot of tests and stuff, because when I have so much anxiety, I like to go hang out with my teammates and hit the ball as hard as I can just to relieve stress.
Exercise produces endorphins, chemicals in the brain that act as natural painkillers, which greatly improves one's overall attitude and sleep. When endorphins are released, they trigger a positive feeling in the body, which overall changes a person's emotion, mood, and stress levels. These are endorphins. When someone is exercising, these chemicals will act in response to stress and pain and counteract them to improve one's overall attitude.
I played basketball and softball my whole life, and my best friends in middle school told me I should play volleyball just because I'm super tall, and they thought I was athletic, so I should start volleyball. And why I kept playing was I loved the sport. I loved the team aspect, and it's just a fun sport, and you meet really fun girls. Yes, it has, because I'm on a travel team, so we travel to Missouri and Texas. So I've been to a numerous amount of states just for volleyball tournaments, and I miss a lot of school. So I missed half of April for volleyball tournaments. I really enjoy the team aspect. Volleyball is probably the best team sport, I think, personally, because the volleyball court is pretty small, and there's 6 girls on the court, so it's a lot of talking and just communicating. No, my parents have always let me choose what I wanted to do. There was a time where I didn't want to play club volleyball anymore, and I didn't want to play in college, and they were totally fine with it. They want me to do what I love. It did, because I missed my senior formal, and I've missed a lot of my friends' birthday parties and small get-togethers, but no to where the point where it's I met so many fun girls at tournaments and on my team where they became some of my best friends, and I'm actually playing in college with one of my best friends who's on my team, so it's a yes and no kind of thing. It affected me positively. Like I said earlier, it's obviously a stress reliever, so I just have fun while I play and have fun with my teammates.
Clearly, people's experiences with athletics differ from person to person. Some may feel increased pressure from their parents or even themselves to perform well.
In turn, they can experience higher levels of anxiety, as we saw in Jean's story.
We examined how different pressures affect a student athlete, whether it was Jean facing her overwhelming schedule and feeling pressure from swim,
or with Jenny enjoying her high-level commitment to volleyball and making a lot of new friends.
As anxiety becomes a growing issue for teens nowadays, it's important to identify methods to manage one's stress level.
If you're ever feeling stressed or overwhelmed, talk to your coach and come up with a practice plan to make sure that your sport doesn't interfere with your mental health or academics.
If you're ever feeling too much stress about your sports, just remember that it's a fun and stress-free activity and you shouldn't have to put too much pressure on yourself.
One of the issues we learned today was unrealistic expectations set by parents. So make sure you communicate with your parents to create realistic goals and establish a stress-free environment.